Hey there everyone, welcome back to Lydia's Plate. This is going to be kind of a different video. I'm going to put away some dishes and talk to you at the same time. Hopefully the mic can pick it all up. If not, I'll have to find a different way to do this. But yeah, let's see how it goes. So, where should I start? But first of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and many blessings on all of you who are good friends and mentoring others and just helping each other out. Way to go. I know that we are not anywhere near the worst case scenario. I know that if people have a negative attitude, they could jump all over this video, and so this is not a video to make any trouble. I just wanted to share something from my heart, and this is a new one for me because I want to be real with everybody out there, and I want to encourage and motivate, but I also want to make sure that I'm being wise and protecting my family. So towards the end of the week of the last week of April, we realized that our oldest Cassandra was not walking properly. We had noticed it for a while, but whenever we would ask her about it, she thought it was just a pulled muscle, and then she seemed to be walking better after that. So we didn't think too much of it until about the 24th. I think it was the 24th, the Thursday anyways, the last Thursday of April, when we realized this was bigger than what any of us knew. So I made an appointment for her to go to the chiropractor, and we were shocked to find out that he said her hip was in very bad shape, and he wanted to do physio every other day for the next 4 weeks minimum. So that was a bit of a shock for me. I was like, what? Really? It's that big a deal? Like, I just thought it was a pulled muscle or a kneecap out of place or something. So we had an appointment on Saturday, and then we had another appointment with him on Monday, and we had another appointment with him on Wednesday. So not even a week. And by Wednesday, he tells us he refuses to work on her anymore until we've seen a doctor. All right, so I go home. I get an appointment with our family doctor for the next day, and I'm told sometimes surgery is used to fix this, but if it's possible to do it with physio, then let's go the route of physio, because surgery, no matter how routine, always still carries its risks. I liked that idea, so we were going to go with that. I went home, called the physio office to start making appointments for physio. Within a day, I think, by the following day, I had a phone call back from our family doctor saying that she wanted to make sure she did her due diligence, and so she was wanting us to come in for x-rays again. The chiropractor had done x-rays, but she wanted us to come in for x-rays again so that she could send a referral to our nearest big city where they could look look at the problem and decide if surgery was necessary. I thought, okay, she's doing a good job, we'll do this. But I had no idea what was coming. That was, I think we did that on Monday, so now it had been just over a week. By last Wednesday, I had a phone call about first thing in the morning saying the surgeon had seen the x-rays and was wondering if we could come in that evening. Excuse me 1 second, please. Saying that the surgeon was wondering if we could come in that evening so that they could get her prepped and ready for surgery the next morning. I was shocked. On top of that, I was told she was not even supposed to be weight bearing on that foot and she should be walking on crutches. So she had a pretty boring day. She wasn't really allowed to do anything, and yet she said walking helped her to feel better because then she was less stiff. So I basically spent Wednesday just making arrangements for the other 3 kids, trying to figure out where we needed to go, pack everything that we needed to, because it sounded like the surgery was not anything super complicated, but because it's in this time of COVID-19, everything just takes so much longer with all the screening and the cleaning and everything else. So I was told to expect 1 night, but be prepared for 2. Now, in the meantime, on Sunday, we got home from going out for a drive and found out our dog was not home. We had a GPS collar on her, but the GPS, it's not so that we can track her, it's so that she has coordinates that she has to stay inside of. So that way we didn't have to have underground fencing and everything. But she wasn't home. We couldn't find her anywhere. So we thought she was gone. So the kids were crying, I was crying. We've had our ups and downs with her. We expected the worst, that she was gone. We no longer had our dog. Now I should back up even further than that. On the Wednesday that the chiropractor said he would no longer see her anymore, that day in itself was a roller coaster because I was just floored that this was, I never saw this coming. This was way more than I expected. And again, I know there are people who go through way worse. I know there are people going through way worse situations and everything. This is not to make anybody feel bad or make anybody, this is not a pity party. I just want to offer a different perspective. I know quarantining has been hard. There are so many people posting about how quarantining is so hard. But honestly, through all of this, by the time we were into surgery, all we wanted to do was get home. Now that being said, on the Wednesday when we had the last chiropractor appointment, that was also a roller coaster day. We did the chiropractor appointment. I ran a bunch of errands, and at our last errand, it was kind of neat. For those of you who don't believe in God, please don't just discount this video and stop watching now because I mentioned him, okay? Please just stick with this. So it was really cool. Cassandra had prayed the night before for God to send her someone that we could help. And we were given that opportunity Wednesday at our last store that we needed to go to, where there was somebody whose battery was dead and we were able to help them and give them a boost. They also lived quite a ways away from town. So that felt really, really good to be able to help another human being. So we're kind of flying on that high on our way home and talking about it. And I'm watching the road, Cassandra's watching all the people burning off the crops because of the awful harvest last year with so many fields not being able to get harvested because of all the issues. I look up and I see this vehicle coming at me in my lane. There's traffic in the other lane, so they're wanting to pass. And here I end up unintentionally playing chicken with them because I'm used to people passing and then turning in and it all works. And it gets kind of close, but it's never like so close that your heart is racing or that anything serious comes of it. Well, this day was an exception. This person is coming closer and closer to me, and I'm in my big SUV and they're in this tiny little car. And I believe it was a semi, a vehicle, a semi, another vehicle, and possibly another vehicle. So here I am, I've got the first semi here beside me, and this car is just coming and coming. And I didn't know, they still had their signal light on from pulling out to pass, but I had no idea where their state of mind was. Were they going to pull onto the shoulder? I mean, you hear these accidents all the time. There are people who make videos of fails or dash cams that have caught stuff. So I had no idea if this person was going to suddenly veer onto the shoulder, and if I would go on the shoulder, then we'd have a head-on there. I had no idea what was going to happen. But eventually I realized, as I got closer, I could actually see that this person looked completely frozen in fear. Just hands were gripped on the steering wheel, and I thought to myself, okay, I think I have to hit the shoulder. I don't think this person is going to be able to do anything. They look frozen. So I hit the shoulder, they went flying past me, and in the moment it was like it didn't even faze me. It was just, oh, this is what I have to do. Looks like, they're not gonna come onto the shoulder, so that should be the safest thing to do. That's what I'm gonna do. After it was all done, I was not so cool and collected anymore. So I just want to remind everybody, as much as this quarantining is not fun, it's not what we want to be doing, by the time things were all said and done, that drive home on the highway could have turned out so differently. Had a husband and 3 kids waiting at home for us, for their mom and their other sibling to get home. it could have turned out differently. Maybe we wouldn't have made it home. Maybe we would have been injured, but being in a bigger vehicle, maybe we would have survived and the other person would not have, and even though it wouldn't have been our fault, we would have had to live with that. So as much as I'm not encouraging to like panic and freak out and go through all the what ifs, at the same time, we're grateful to be alive. If that means that we're sitting at home being quarantined, at this point, who cares? We're still with our family. We're still alive. We've made it through surgery. We're back home. We did end up being there for 2 nights. Here's a shot of the surgery that Cassandra has had done. So if you can see, this is the top leg bone, femur I believe it is, and this goes into the hip. So this is that hip joint, that's the ball joint in the hip. Now in the middle of that ball joint there's this section, which is what they call the growth center. So most people don't have trouble with this, and they didn't give me any clear answer as to why Cassandra did. They said it can totally be just a fluke thing. Some people get it, some people don't, but they said it's more common and less complicated of a surgery than even a hernia surgery. But surgery is still always surgery and still always has its risks. So our bodies are designed so incredibly. What they said would likely happen is they put a pin, so this rectangular thing that you see here, that's the pin that they put in. But what happened is that hers shifted crooked a bit. They said it was caught early enough that everything should turn out well. And they said the little bit that it shifted, it likely would not ever shift back. The pin or screw just keeps it from shifting farther. But our bodies are designed so meticulously, so incredibly awesome, that especially a child, as they're growing, her body should rebuild this entire ball section so that it matches perfectly with the bottom here again. So that's the surgery that she's had done. And it is just so good to be home again. So, if you're quarantined at home, and I'm not saying that it's easy, being around each other 24/7 is not always easy. And you get bored, and you run out of things to do, and you have relational friction and all kinds of other things. And for people who aren't used to it, not being able to go to the restaurants and everything, it is an adjustment. I'm not going to say it's not. And even with homesteading and making a lot of meals ourselves, I still take shortcuts sometimes. I'll buy hot dogs, I'll buy chicken burgers. We'll go out to restaurants sometimes. But for people who aren't used to being home and cooking, it is a bigger adjustment. But there are worse things. And so I'm just hoping that, maybe if you're feeling frustrated in the situation that you're in, if you're feeling frustrated with this quarantine, sometimes all it takes is a little shift in our perspective. Mother's Day now, with so many people celebrating Mother's Day, and please, I do not mean to be insensitive at all here, but I still have my mom, I still have my mother-in-law, and I'm so grateful there are those who don't. So there are so many things in life to be grateful for, even if life isn't going exactly how you want it to. I'm not saying that the struggles aren't still valid. I'm just saying that sometimes if you shift your focus a little bit, sometimes just that can help things seem a little better or not so overwhelming, or give yourself a little grace. So guys, I just hope that you are encouraged by this video. Maybe you have been kind of frustrated with being quarantined, but there are worse things, and I'm not even going to get into all the opinions and conspiracy theories about the quarantine, if it's actually necessary or not. All that aside, my point is just that if you shift your perspective, you know, it might be different, but is it really, really all that bad? There are worse things. We are glad to be home. We're glad the surgery went well. We're thankful that we're not one of those freak 1 in a million or whatever the statistic is, where, you know, something goes wrong with the surgery or with the spinal or whatever, that you end up being paralyzed. We're glad that none of that happened. Everything went well. We had a fantastic team of nurses and doctors. Even the one cleaning gentleman, he went and found us a deck of Uno cards to play with. You know, they were just so great there. And as much as we in Canada sometimes complain about our healthcare system, and I'm not going to stand here and act like I'm all perfect and I've never done it, because I have. And I've had awful experiences in hospitals and with medical staff, and I've had super fantastic ones. I've had a doctor that was so awful to me that the nurse said if I didn't report him to the Doctors Association or whatever, then they were going to. But we had such a great team. They were so kind and helpful, and they were so professional. They did their jobs well. You know, I would say that is one of the best experiences we've ever had in the hospital with medical staff. And I'm grateful for our healthcare. All we had to pay for was the crutches, and we have insurance, so even that is basically all paid for. Life is not so bad. And I'm just hoping that this can encourage anybody out there who is frustrated with the quarantine. Yeah. I don't know, I just really hope that people find this video helpful and uplifting, and just shift your focus, count your blessings, and let's all just keep encouraging each other. So if you did like this video, of course, as always, YouTube likes the likes. If you want to see more of our videos, hit that bell so you're notified. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing our normal videos of all the homesteading and cleaning and everything else that goes with life. If you want to be motivated, I also recently put up a baking motivation video, so if you need to be motivated to bake, you could try that video. But yeah, you know, maybe a little bit of encouragement is what we need these days, to remember that the quarantine may be frustrating and annoying, but it's not the worst thing to go through, and even our situation is far from the worst that anybody can go through. Even the last 2 weeks of this roller coaster ride we've been on. I'm not here to compare anything. I just wanted to encourage those who are frustrated to just, take a peek on the other side of the fence and have a shift in focus, maybe, if that helps make your life seem more manageable again, or feel a little brighter, or just to help you feel more thankful for what you do have. So thanks guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.